Hey everybody, welcome back to Belle's Library. This is going to be my Historathon announcement video. Even though we are like 6 weeks in, I have been doing it, but I have not yet gotten around to making my announcement video. So I'm going to do that tonight. I want to show you guys some of the things that I've chosen for this first quarter. So if you are not familiar with Historathon, I believe that it was started by Revenant Reads. He has a whole team of people that kind of co-host with him. I'm going to put everybody's links down in the description. And basically the year is divided into 4 quarters, and then history is divided into 4 quarters, and we just match up those periods of history with the periods of, you know what I'm saying, anyway, the year, and read non-fiction books that correspond. Okay, so this first quarter, January to March, we are reading things from prehistory through 500 AD. And it has to be something nonfiction. So in order to complete the challenge, you can just read one book, one nonfiction book that is set during that time. It talks about that time, you know, whatever, within that era. Now I've got a little stack here. I've already gone through one of them, and like I said, I'm 6 weeks in. That means I got about 6 weeks left. So I probably need to sort of speed it up a little bit, but I want to share with you guys what I chose. Now, I made a video a few weeks ago. My daughters and I were at Barnes & Noble, and I was looking for a book for Historathon. I couldn't at that time find anything on my shelves. A lot of my stuff was packed away. As you can tell, I am sort of, you know, building this library here behind me, and so a lot of my things are coming out of hiding and being organized in this library. But at the time I couldn't find hardly anything that would fit that were on my shelves, and so I went to Barnes & Noble hunting down a book, and I chose Mary Beard's Confronting the Classics, which I'll talk about here in a sec. But I had said on that video that this particular quarter was probably going to be the most difficult for me, because a lot of the nonfiction that can be found in a mainstream bookstore like Barnes & Noble does not fit within my own personal worldview. So I am what is called a biblical creationist, or a young earther. So I basically just believe the biblical timeline as far as the history of the earth. That means that the earth is only just a little less than 7,000 years old. And so for me, when I'm looking at books that talk about millions of years, whether it's based on archaeology or geology or whatever, I tend to lump all that together into much newer time periods, okay? So it is hard to find books that address that are also well written and not preachy, right? I don't necessarily want to read things that help me interpret the Bible as much as I would like to read things that help me interpret different cultures. So I decided to go with Greek and Roman culture as my main focus, because that is something that I don't dispute as far as where it lands in history. And I think that it would help me to understand my Bible better, to understand this little period of history, the Greek and Roman times, that and even the Babylonians and Persians before them, that I just don't really understand very well. So I had chosen this first one, Confronting the Classics by Mary Beard. I just finished it, like maybe less than an hour ago even. I finished this book. I did not enjoy it, and I think part of it is because I was expecting something different than what it actually is. So the back of this book says that it is the perfect introduction to classical studies and deserves to become something of a standard work in the future. So I'm looking for an introduction to classical studies. What this actually is a compilation of this author's like critical essays and critical book reviews that she has published in different journals and such within her profession. And so therefore, one thing, a lot of it went way over my head, because I am brand new. I am fresh out of the gate when it comes to Greeks and Romans. Like, I learned about mythology in high school, like Edith Hamilton or whatever. That's like my introduction there. And besides that, just the basics that I sort of have gotten from reading the Bible. Like, I know nothing. So, coming into just reading these critical essays and book reviews and things that are very much something that, one, is not directed to the public to begin with. They were directed at like her colleagues. That seemed weird to me. And then secondly, had like zero backstory, zero explanation on some of this stuff. Like, you had to have a basic, or maybe even more than basic, understanding of lots of stuff regarding the Greeks and Romans to even understand this book. So I cannot see how this could possibly be a perfect introduction. This is way past introduction level. So I didn't enjoy it for that purpose. Also, this woman, so she is a professor at Cambridge. Apparently she's been studying all this stuff for 30 years. She was super arrogant. She just spent a lot of time just really dissing on her colleagues, or just on these, other historians. And that's annoying. But even what was more annoying is the fact that she didn't give proofs for her, rebuttals against them. So she's analyzing their critical studies of this or that subject, yet she doesn't give her proofs of why she disagrees with them. And for me, that just immediately makes me think, why should I trust you over this other person? At least they're giving me some references of why they believe what they believe. So that was irritating. But I just didn't enjoy the book. I think that the real big positive takeaway from this book was that I did not realize how much art and archaeology and architecture has been messed with by very modern artists and archaeologists. I did not understand that, the Minoan culture was a word that was made up by somebody like in the 1800s, and a lot of that art has totally just redone. She talked about how one of the people she was critiquing talked about it being an Art Deco style. Like, that's 1930s, right? That's like not an ancient culture, apparently. So things like that, things like the sculptures being sort of pieced together from rubble piles when they don't even match, the marble doesn't match. Just things that really kind of confirmed what I already assume, and what I was getting to at the beginning of this video, is that there's a lot of history that is just sort of made up based on really flimsy evidence. And so that was the case here in the Greeks and Romans. It's the case now. It's probably been the case throughout all history. All right, so that was my first introduction to Historathon, to this quarter's subject. All right, book number 2, The Babylonians by Gwendolyn Lake. This one was mentioned on Revenant Reads when he was doing kind of his intro video for this quarter. It's one that he read, and it just really interested me hearing his review. The Babylonians play a big part in biblical history. Again, that is something that I'm interested in right now. And so I am looking forward to reading through this and understanding that culture and their belief systems. This is probably the next book that I'm going to pick up this evening when I start something new. Then to sort of accompany it is another book that was recommended by Revenant Reads. This one's called The First Ghosts by Irving Finkel. Now, this is not a book of like ghost stories, because I probably would not read that. Right now I'm in the middle of Elizabeth Gaskell's Gothic Tales. I'm about ready to chuck it against the wall. It's irritating me so bad. But this is not a gothic-y, ghost story-ish sort of book. Instead, it sounds like it talks about kind of the history of people's superstitions, including their beliefs in ghosts, and why this has been a topic all throughout history, how their beliefs have shaped the way they do religion or just anything, right? Just a basic look at the human experience concerning the idea of the things that freak us out. So I think that I'm really gonna find a lot of good information in here, and Revenant Reads did suggest putting these together. But he said that, I guess it was, he read this one first and said that this one helped him to understand this one a lot better. And so I may read them in tandem, but I will probably just read, Babylonians and this next one. All right, and then next up, remember I only got 6 weeks here, so I'm gonna have to be reading like crazy, but this one is The Fires of Vesuvius, a story about Pompeii by Mary Beard. Yes, the one that I just talked about how I did not enjoy. But this one doesn't seem to be a set of critiques as much as maybe an actual book of history. So I will probably like this a lot. The history of these people has always intrigued me, so I am looking forward to checking that out. This next one is one that I found on Paperback Swap when I just kind of did an advanced search with keywords trying to find some things that would fit into this period. This one is called Gladiatrix, The True Story of History's Unknown Woman Warrior by Amy Zoll. And this is kind of an archaeology book as well as a history book. Apparently this body was found in London in the 21st century at some point, the body of a gladiator. And so it sounds like this is the first gladiator that had ever been found. And to top it off, it seems that she is a woman as well. And so I think that this will be interesting to read. And then as I was putting my library together last week, I found 3 more books that I may get to, or I may just look through, I may just save for next year. But this one is called Builders of the Ancient World, Marvels of Engineering. And this is a book that was put out by the National Geographic Society. And it talks about all kinds of structures that have been built all over the world, that have been unearthed, and just looks kind of cool. My father was a building contractor, and so I have always just been very interested in architecture. I like to pick out, go to a place such as Bath or London or even, some of the cities here in America and try to guess the age of some of the things and pick out the different parts of they've been, as things have maybe been updated over the years and different eras of history. That's just something that I really love to do. So that'll be fun for me to learn a little bit more about that. Another one that I found was The Archaeology of Ancient Egypt. This is by T.G.H. James. And this one looks like it is kind of an older book. My daughter, I guess, got this from a book sale or something. And so she had unhauled it from her own library. And so I stuck it into our homeschool library. But that should be interesting. I've always been interested in archaeology. When I was a kid, I wanted to be like a paleontologist and an archaeologist and go on crazy digs, and I still kind of want to do that. And then lastly, I found this book called The Biblical Period from Abraham to Ezra, a Historical Survey. This is kind of a super vintagey book, and I don't even really know like what this is going to be about. It looks like it's going to be a history, but it just looks kind of dry. So we'll see. I might get to it, and I might just put it away for next year. I don't know, but at least I have a nice little stack here to work from. So those are all my choices for Historathon for this first quarter. I am in. This is me declaring I'm in. If you have not yet joined Historathon, all you gotta do is commit to reading one book within each quarter of the year that corresponds with the time period, one nonfiction book. So super simple. You can check out all of the hosts below. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. Let me know, are you doing Historathon? What have you chosen? Do you have some videos up that I can come and check out? Make sure and let me know in the comments so I can come and visit you as well. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.